I remember Dennis. I played with Dennis with Scotland, and I thought the following week or 2 weeks later, I played against him with Manchester United, Roddy. And I thought, well, and I mean, we were no angels at Leeds United, but I thought playing against Dennis, I go for a 50-50 ball. It's going to be, you know, I'll take it easy a bit with being Dennis, because Dennis is my big pal and all that. Christ, he nearly killed me. Honestly, he nearly killed me that day. And I says, Dan, what are you doing? No friends on the park, son. He says, only friends I've got are in these red shirts here for Manchester United, not you. You're my friend when you're with Scotland, but on the park here, so that was a lesson I learned and kept that throughout my life and all.
Dennis, whose business was economical destruction, he was a killer, still managed to make economy melodramatic. You know, it's a bit of a gift.
He was a fantastic player for us, great player, great match winner, always ready to challenge, and no fear at all.
Denis Law's career for Scotland was enriched by the presence of other great players like Jimmy Johnston. He was a winger who stirred Scottish supporters like a tribal memory of how the game should be played.
A beautiful ball from Law to Johnston, and it's 3-2 now.
Jimmy Johnston, oh well, tricky, jinky Jimmy, as good a winger as I've ever seen. I once got into very difficult trouble with Mr. Steen over that I'd seen Jimmy play in Leeds against Don Revie's famous Leeds team, and I had said to Jimmy, with a colleague from the press, you must be worth $1 million. Half an hour later, Mr. Steen had me with a scruff of the neck saying, do you know the wee man's just asked for a transfer? You've told him he's worth $1 million. So it wasn't a very nice sight, I can tell you.
Jimmy Johnston was a player who brought to the biggest occasion an individualist verve that suggested jackets for goalposts. But the unique skill hadn't been casually earned.
When I was about 12 years old, I read a book about Stanley Matthews. I tried to, emulate in a lot of ways, but what I was impressed with was the time that he put in, the time that he spent. Apparently, he spent something like 7 hours a day practising the skills, and these were the things, it was the things that he did himself, nobody teaching him, I used to go into the school playground, which was St Columba's, the school that I did go to when I was, young lad, and I used to put the ball over in there. It was in, darkness, but your eyes do get accustomed to it. And I just played there for hours on end, just running with the ball, sprinting with it. And there was a wall, let's say, about 100 yards long, that I used to go up and down, just playing 1-2s off. And I just used to, the playground, it used to be about 100 yards, by about 100, and I just used to use that, just run with the ball, sprint with it, turn and twist with it. Say for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then even in the house, I used to practice in the house. I say that's when I used the milk bottles, put them down and went in and out them for, say, another hour.
Johnson. Trovan towering above him. Now you see why Celtic decided to play this little boy today. To Murdoch. Through to Hughes. Oh.
It was the age of teamwork. And he was one of the very last players who played on his own. He gave the ball to Jimmy, and Jimmy did extraordinary things with it.
Now, Johnston. Brenda Farling, Johnston. Little ginger-haired fella, Farling, another little ginger-haired fella.
One of the great talents of Scottish football. He was a marvellous little player. He had a temper which occasionally he failed to control, and that resulted in him being ordered off in matches. But I have to say that he was a player whom I particularly watched. Johnston and Henderson were players of great talent, and you had to be careful that they weren't booted out of a match.
The wee man deserves a great deal of credit for his sheer bravery, because he would go at a player, be chopped brutally, receive a free kick, and you would just give him a short free kick, and he would go at the same player again, knowing, what was coming. And it takes a very brave man to do that time after time.
When somebody was trying to nail you, that's when you knew you had them. That was all the encouragement you needed. You would get it and say, right, give us it again. You'd go to them, then take it into the box and let them kick them up, kick you all you want.
Wee Jimmy was the type of guy, if you're under pressure, all we did was give the ball to Jimmy, because nobody could ever get the ball off him. The likes of, if we're 3 goals up in a match and we're trying to save our energy for a midweek game, give the ball to Jimmy and let him run about with it, just to slow the whole tempo of the game down and take it easy.
Johnston.
And if we needed someone to break open tight defences, we had to give it to Jimmy as well.
Johnston. Great display of wing football by Johnston.
I think, honestly, you've seen these cans of spaghetti that are all twisted up. That was like me one day against Jinky Jim. And we got beat, I think it was 2-0. And honestly, I was embarrassed to come off the pitch. He absolutely crucified me. I finally was manager, and he came off and he said, Emlyn, you've just played against a world-class player today. He said, don't worry. He said, he can do that to anybody.
Well, wee Jimmy was just a magician. And Big Billy said to me, Big Billy McNeil said once, he said, the only trouble with Jimmy is you've got to make sure he's running in the right direction. He said, because if he's coming this way, we'll never get the ball off him. I mean, he's liable to beat 3 turnstile men and about 5 of the crowd, but you see feet flailing around and be jumping over them, stopping. You see him stop in the air sometimes and hold it in his instep and then change. And wee Jimmy seemed to have a crutch of cast iron. He could start a stride going one way, change in mid-stride and go the other way. Oh, he was... And also, he added substantially to the gaiety of nations off the field too, didn't he?
On the football field, nobody can have added more to the gaiety of the Scottish nation than Jim Baxter of Rangers. He played football as if he was inside a schoolboy's dream of how the game might be played.
Jim Baxter, the most elegant player I've ever seen. The man who could have taken his place in a South American team with such as Perry and Rivellino and fitted in well. The one man who stood head and shoulders over most.
Baxter.
Jim was the man, I suppose, if we're talking about Scottish footballers. I remember, apart from anything else, the beauty of his game was something to stop the heart.
Baxter summing up the whole situation. There it goes to Greg. Johnson scores! Fantastic! A wonderful free kick from Baxter.
As John Rafferty wrote memorably about him, he had the ability to pass a ball over a player's head and put almost backspin on it. So he had colossal control of spin and flight of the ball. And again, this sort of arrogance that he would play his way.
I think it's there, really, without being bumptious or anything. It's there in people. It's there, and there's nobody can manufacture that. You can't teach you that. You've either got the cheek, the arrogance, or you haven't.
The arrogant skill he showed early with Raith Rovers was the first thing that made him quintessentially the great Scottish player. The second was indifference to his own talent.
I didn't want to leave because I was quite happy getting a few quid at that time. I didn't really have any great ambitions. McNaught says, don't be a fool. You sign for Rangers, the best thing you'll ever do, which was true, which was a bit of advice that I did take. I didn't take a lot of advice, but I took that and it was good. When I signed for Rangers and I says, if I come good, which I did come good, it went for me. And we had a good team, by the way. I had a lot of help from a lot of great footballers in that team. And then I just says, well, you've got a chance at the cherry, bite it and have a good go at it. So I had a good go at it. And that was, I just took it from there. If you can't, you're on stage, I say, in Ibrox, Celtic Park, no matter where you're on stage, give them what you've got.
Left half, Jim Baxter steadies himself, shoots, a goal for Scotland.
Who's the first man to score a goal against Gordon Banks for England, when he played for England? Nobody would ever think it. Who was the first guy to score a second goal? Jim Baxter both times. That was his debut for England. So if you were saying to anybody, you must win a bet in the pub, nobody would tip out me scoring 2 goals. I think it's the first time I've ever done it in my life. But there's not a better place to do it, is there?
It's Baxter to take the kick. Another goal.
See if it had been 3-1. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to